CEO of Truth Social and former House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes tells One American News that the revelation from the Danchenko trial that the FBI offered $1 million to ex-British spy Christopher Steele confirms the Steele dossier amounted to a, quote, "get Trump bounty." One America's John Hines has more from Washington.
Devin, if I could ask you to put on your former hat as the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and there was some news in Washington, a familiar name, Igor Danchenko, this, I guess, Russian national who was the source for the Steele dossier, the primary source. Mr. Durham, the special counsel, had been prosecuting him, trying to find him guilty on originally 5 counts of lying to the FBI. It got down to 4, and then, of course, a jury over in Virginia decided that he wasn't guilty. What do you make of that not guilty verdict of Igor Danchenko, sir?
Well, it's a continuation of this 2-tier justice system that we've seen in the United States for the last 5 or 6 years, where Republicans are gone after like nobody else, or quickly prosecuted. And if you're in one of these big cities, especially in the Beltway, it makes it very, very difficult for, if you're a conservative or Republican, to win any type of verdict or trial, which I think should trouble the American people moving forward, that we have this type of bias going on in these jurisdictions, in these venues. And there's many examples of it, but I think it's a big problem. And if you see what Durham has had to do, he's had to actually put the FBI on trial while at the same time making these prosecutions on both Sussman and Danchenko.
In the trial, the trial of Igor Danchenko, there were a lot of things revealed about the FBI. I thought one interesting thing was that they offered, Mr. Durham called it an incentive, $1 million incentive to Christopher Steele to corroborate the Steele dossier. What did you make of that when you heard about that?
Well, I think you can look at it as nothing more than a bounty, a get Trump bounty that was put on President Trump's head, and the FBI knowing that both Steele and Danchenko, who were paid, were clearly people that the Congress, during our investigation, we should have known about immediately, because it would have been laughable. It would have been completely criminal at the time that they were doing this, because it was a slick way to hide this fact from the United States Congress and from our investigation. So if you look at, why were they trying that? Steele was already on the payroll. Why would they give him $1 million? My guess is it was to shut him up, to keep him there, and to try to prove what they knew was actually false. I mean, I think there's the sad part is I'm not sure that Durham's ever been able to interview Steele. Maybe we'll find out that later. But we're going to be interesting to see where Durham goes from here. It's been
well. That's what I was going to ask you. Is he going to shut down the investigation, or what happens now?
Well, the one good thing about the Durham investigation is there's been no leaks from it, which is, in my whole time in Washington, I never saw that from any investigation where there were 0 leaks. Now, you have to remember that the fake news, which is 95% of the news, they have 0 ability or even desire to go and investigate the whole Russia hoax. Why? Because they were in on it. They knew it was a hoax from the beginning. Many of them were receiving the information, the supposed, the P-tape dossier from Steele. They were meeting with them. They all had the dossier long before any Republican that I know of ever even had the dossier. Many people didn't see it until after President Trump had won in January of 2017, until that came out. So the fake news was in on this from the beginning. It was just a kind of a nice relationship between the Clinton campaign, the DNC, a bunch of other dirty actors, plus the dirty cops within the Get Trump unit within the FBI and the Department of Justice, who all worked with the media to plant information, and then voila, oh my God, look at this. There's a fake news report. Let's go in and let's get a FISA warrant, or let's go investigate this person, or let's go investigate that person. And then, of course, you had the complete Mueller hoax, which that was an investigation that really should be investigated. And to some degree, Durham did bring some of that out. So where Durham goes from here, John, I don't think we know. Hopefully there are more prosecutions to come. I think the challenge he's going to have, though, is bringing those prosecutions in Washington, D.C., where we pretty much already know the outcome. They deliberate for 12 seconds and Democrats skate. They deliberate for the same amount of time and Republicans get prosecuted.
Truth CEO and former California Congressman Devin Nunes, thank you for joining us on One America News, sir.
Always a pleasure, John. Great to be with you.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.